Hey everyone, it's Jessie G here. Welcome back to another episode of Jessie's Hangout. We're gonna get kind of straight into everything. So here we go. If you are new to the channel and you happen to come across this episode, please don't forget to hit that red subscribe button and that notification bell so you'll be notified as to when I upload videos in the future, and you don't miss out on anything fun or interesting. Also, don't forget to leave a like and a comment what you think about the penitentiary if you've ever been to it. Um, what are your thoughts of how they ran the prisons? If there's any other historical moments that I didn't talk about that you might want to mention to other people, leave a comment below. Also, don't forget to go check out the description box below this episode where I list all of my social media. Go follow me on all of my social media. And without further ado, let's get into today's topic. Also, do not forget to read the opening credits and any disclaimers before you listen to today's episode. Alright, let's get into today's episode. Eastern State Penitentiary was designed by John Haverland. He was born on December the 15th, 1792, and died on the 28th of March, 1852. He was the one that constructed the prison, made the prison as what it is today. You guys will see a picture of him and the date of birth. He was really involved with the prison design, and everything. So he was the one that created the prison. Eastern State Penitentiary opened its doors on October the 25th, 1829. Eastern State Penitentiary was considered to be the world's first penitentiary because of the way it was with prisoners, the way for the strict discipline that they had for the prisoners, the fact that it was built the way it was, and the fact that they were implementing the discipline and the strict rules that they had in there. It was just, when you walked in there, it really didn't feel like a prison, which I'll get more into that. Eastern State Penitentiary was considered to be one of the prisons that would rehabilitate prisoners and criminals who did things that they shouldn't have been doing. It was supposed to be basically to rehabilitate them, basically get them on the right path. And the fact that it had a churchy-like feel to it on the inside, and the way that the cells were built, there was a skyline, so it was basically, I'm gonna kind of go in deep with this. There were skylines at each of the prison cells. It was basically a way of saying, God is always watching you. He knows what you have done. He sees you. As basically just to kind of not necessarily put the fear of God in them or anything, but just put the fear in them enough to straighten them up and put them on the right track. Now, whether it worked on some of the prisoners, who knows? It seemed to have with some of them, but not quite all of them, as you'll hear about throughout this episode. The prison cells were 12 feet long and 8 feet wide and 10 inches high. And this is one of the really big kickers about this. The door frame that housed the bars that open and close, or the cell doors that open and close, that door frame was 4 foot tall, meaning the prisoners either had to bow out the door or crouch or kneel out the door. And the reason for that was not only for the respect of the prison and to gain the manners or whatever it was they were trying to do, really. It was also to protect the guards that were guarding the prisoners, so they would be less likely to attack them. So they implemented that in there. That's why those doors were the way that they were. And we're talking, these doors are small. Make no mistake, they are small. If you are 6 foot something, you're going to have a big problem walking out that door standing up, I'll tell you that. When the prisoners had any free time, they spent most of their time reading the Bible, praying, or doing any chores that they were assigned to. they did have the courtyards and the exercise equipment and things and access to air, but why they were, I think, either if they walked outside of their cell and the inside and also the outside, allegedly, um, not only did they have to stay silent and they couldn't talk to each other because of how their prison cells were, they were basically solitary confinement cells in a way. And they did have solitary confinement for those who were like the maximum security prisoners that really did things they shouldn't have been doing. And if they walked in out of the outside the prison or if they walked outside their cell, they always wore this like white hood that didn't really allow to see them really allowed to see much of anything or get the lay of that layout or the land or anything, so they wouldn't do anything stupid. But unfortunately, um, that didn't really do anything because throughout the years there was escapes, there was riots, there was things that happened. So the penitentiary really wasn't doing entirely what it was really meant to do, but it was supposed to rehabilitate prisoners and get them on the right track, but it really wasn't working. Um, on October 1829, on the 25th, that's when they received their first prisoner. It was an African American farmer. He was also a burglar. He committed theft. He stole like some coins and a watch, and I can't remember what else, but he stole some things he shouldn't have been stealing, and he was sent to um, Eastern State Penitentiary. His name was Charles Williams. He was a farmer. Like I said, he was a farmer and a burglar at that. Um, it also received its first female prisoner in 1831. Easter following that same year. That was when all the riots happened, and that's when everything kind of went crazy. They started hitting on hard times. There was rumors of going around stating that the Eastern State Penitentiary were treating his prisoners poorly, like the wrong way, the way that they shouldn't have been treating them. And there was an investigation done, and investigators couldn't find anything wrong with the prison or anything like that when they looked into it. Um, it was also having a hard time with crowded prisoners. It was overcrowding in there a lot. By the time the third cell block was done, it was so overcrowded. It was crazy. They did manage to move the female prisoners out of the prison to try to lessen the crowding, kind of relieve some of the crowding, but it really didn't work. There was so much money that was put into the prison that just couldn't keep it running anymore. And it finally closed its doors and it became abandoned like it is today. It does remain open to the public for tourists. It does do little Halloween things here and there in the prison. But the reason why it was so popular, not so much of the fact that it's considered haunted because of the prisoners that died in that prison and, you know, the things that went on in that prison. It's also known for its architectural environment because it was so huge and so big, and it was created so big. Um, but it was also for its strict discipline and the fact that it housed some of the world's most famous prisoners in there, and the fact that it had a riot and people were known for escaping, and it was really crazy. Eastern State Penitentiary is located in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It's pretty huge. You guys seen some of the pictures throughout this episode. Those pictures really don't do its justice of how big this place is. This place is huge. I've seen a map. It is huge, and it housed quite a lot of prisoners in there. It housed, at least from what I gathered from what I was reading, but I don't know if this even scratches the surface. It housed over 400, I think over 400,000 or just 400 prisoners or something along the lines of that. It housed a lot of prisoners, and that's why it was so overcrowded. And even when they took the female prisoners out of there, it still didn't lessen or relieve some of the crowding. It made it even more worse, and um, it was pretty crazy. Um, and some of the inside architectural after it's been abandoned is still pretty crazy to walk in and still see some of the things that were left behind in that prison that are still there, such as some of the things that were in the cell. I've seen some pictures of people standing in the cells and trying to go out the door, and it was just really crazy. It was definitely a penitentiary, and it definitely did have a churchy-like feel, and they definitely tried to do what they could do to rehabilitate the prisoners and do what they could do with their strict discipline. And what I mean by strict discipline is not only with the hoods, they had to stay silent. They couldn't talk to each other. Um, there was no way for them to talk to each other or communicate with each other. They had to stay silent. They had to do their jobs. They had to do whatever they were doing in that prison, whether it was reading the Bible or praying or doing the chores or going outside to get air, whatever it was. They had to stay silent. And they were also forced to work together when they did their chores or they were assigned to anything. They had to work together. And that was very hard for probably a lot of the prisoners. um, I'm sure it was very difficult, but it was a way of trying to put these prisoners and these criminals on the right path instead of putting them on the wrong path. But some of the prisoners that I listed were some of the ones that were known for their notorious crime spree. There was also one said to be one of the warden's servants or something like that. He tried to escape the prison. He tried to literally escape the prison. I don't know allegedly if it worked for him or not, but I don't think it really did. But there was a lot of prisoners who have tried to escape that prison, and whether they succeeded or not, I don't know. Remains to be unknown, really. um, but yeah, it was pretty crazy during the 18th century or 1800s, I should say, and it was pretty crazy. There still are. I'm assuming there still are penitentiaries to this day, but I know there's prisons, and they suffer from overcrowding or lack of budget to fix things. That type of thing. But yeah, it was just the way that they were strict about their prisoners, and just the way the architecture was, and the way that John Hiverly, if I'm saying his name right, the way he designed the prison, it was crazy. And the fact that I was mentioning that by the time they got done with the third cell block, it was so full, it was crazy. I don't know how they kept those prisoners in line like that, because it was just absolutely insane. And in housing one of the notorious famous murderers in there was even more crazy. I didn't even know that when I was reading it, because I heard about it. I heard about her and her story, and it was just like, whoa. So it was really crazy. But anyways, I know this episode was short and sweet and to the point, but I hope you guys enjoyed the photos that you guys seen. I hope you guys learned a lot throughout this episode. I hope you got educated through this episode. If you wish to see the prison and go through the prison yourself and take a walk through, it's located in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They allow tourists to walk in there. They do Halloween stuff in October. It's pretty cool that they still keep it open for people to go through and see and whatnot. And I hope you guys got a gist of what the prison looked like throughout the episode with the photos and everything. So I hope you guys got a lot out of that. But anyways, don't forget to hit that red subscribe button and that notification bell so you'll be notified as to when I upload videos in the future, and you guys don't miss out on anything fun, exciting, or all of the above. Don't forget to go check out the description box where I list all of my social media in the description. I also list all of my equipment in the description, so if you're interested in what equipment I use to record this stuff with, you feel free to go check that out. And I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. I hope you guys have a lovely Easter, and I will catch you guys in my next episode. Later.